The Indie Writers Club podcast is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid has been my go-to tool for revising and refining my writing since my first book. Built by writers for writers, it's more than just a grammar and spell checker. Pro Writing Aid helps you enhance your story's pacing, plot, characters, settings, and more. It can even provide on-demand developmental feedback on your entire manuscript with its new manuscript analysis and virtual beta reader tools. Get ahead of the competition by heading to prowritingaid.com, sign up for free or use the code IWC15 for a 15% discount off annual subscriptions.
It's the Indie Writers Club with Cara Clare and James Blatch. A place to relax, chat, learn and vent about life as an independent author. Get episode alerts and links at indiewritersclub.com. Now, here's Cara and James.
Hello and welcome to the Indie Writers Club. I'm James Blatch.
And I am Cara Clare. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to everybody. We are talking audiobooks today, their importance to indies, how to do it, changing ways in which you can do it at the moment, etc., etc. So we've got a good episode coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. And it's super good timing, actually, because my women's fiction, which are with Vinci, they emailed me yesterday with the first narrator that they've lined up. And it was super exciting because I actually recognise her. She was in Holby City and Emmerdale.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God.
So I know. Her name is Emily Stride.
In the UK.
Yes. But she's also been in an HBO drama of some kind. And she's definitely one of those actresses that you recognise from stuff, even if you don't know her name. So I was super excited about that. It's really I can't wait to hear it.
That's great. And that's being done by one of the W.F. Howe's companies, Tantor, is it?
Yes. Yes, I think it was, the email came from W.F. Howe, so I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, we'll get into the different ways of getting your books into audio, because there is a cost, there is an entry fee. It might be a bit lower now, but we'll discuss those options as well. Well, I had my story call yesterday from Tom Donnelly, who's the scriptwriter in Hollywood, who's been on this show. And he offered very kindly to help me get out of my sort of stuck middle of my current plotting. And we recorded it, so I'll put it out there as a bonus episode.
Oh, awesome!
At some point, but it was good. So basically, he the basic way he did it is we all find the beginning and perhaps the end easiest to write, and the middle becomes more difficult. And so he said, quite simply, you've written the beginning, he's read the beginning, we like quite a lot of it, not all of it, but write the end. What's the end? So we spent most of the call working out what the end was, and then the middle looks after itself after that point, doesn't it? Because you know where you need to go from and to. We got some story arcs, we got some motivations nailed down. Does mean quite a lot of the writing that I really like is now irrelevant, which is annoying, but that's part of it, isn't it? I mean... Yeah,
it is. And being able to, what's the phrase, kill your darlings? Being able to be objective about it and get rid of those bits if they really don't serve the story is super hard, but it's something that we have to do.
Yeah. He enjoyed the first line of the novel, which was from a crusty old MI6 guy who hates the modern world. He's sitting in a meeting in NATO HQ in the bowels of it. And the opening line is, the room stank of body odour, smoke and Americans. He said, how dare you?
He actually Tom messaged me after our little rant about Jurassic Park.
Yes.
And he said that he wasn't entirely happy that we keep knocking screenwriters on the show. Yeah. And I was like, have you seen it, though? Do you know what the really terrible news is, though? I ended up having to watch Jurassic Park again because actually my son is only 7 and he hasn't seen any of the other Jurassic Park movies because they're all a bit scary. But this one, I was like, he actually won't be scared by it because that D-Rex thing is so ridiculous. So I sat and we skipped through a lot of the long bits of dialogue, which again shows you how bad it was because I had to sit through huge long parts because my 7-year-old was sitting there like, what are they talking about? This is going on forever. But anyway, I sat through the dinosaur related bits again at the weekend. And that's love for you, that is.
Took one for the team there. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I have no other writing news because I'm literally, as all parents will know, in that part of the summer holidays where it's the longest week of all the weeks because the kids are going back next week.
Yeah.
And we're just absolutely... Yeah. You know what, though? I do have something which is sort of story related, but not. So on Monday, me and my sister got £10 tickets to go and see Hamilton, the musical. Okay. There's an app in the UK called Today Tickets, which you can join a lottery every now and again, and they run a lottery so you get like the best seats in the house, but for £10.
Wow.
And sitting there, I don't know if you've seen Hamilton,
no,
but it's absolute work of genius. It's the second time I've seen it, and sitting there, I just thought, there is no way that AI or robots are ever going to be able to do this. There is absolutely no way. Like the stuff that came out of Lin-Manuel Miranda's brain to make that musical, the storytelling, like even regardless of the actual musical talent and the choreography and everything else, like I was just kind of blown away, and it made me feel really like warm and fuzzy about creatives and yes. more sort of like, I don't know, more optimistic, I think, than I've felt in a little while about like, actually, no, like there is a certain level of absolute genius that robots are never going to be able to get.
Yeah. And funny enough, I had a sort of similar moment this week because I'm going through the Launchpad course, Landsat Publishing Launchpad course. We're opening it next month, and we always go through it periodically, make sure everything's up to date. And there's some stuff about affiliate links and stuff which we don't really use anymore. So I'm making some changes. But it reminded me when we sat out at the beginning, we sort of blue skied this. You know, what are the fundamental building blocks for an indie author career? And so much of it is communication with readers and relationship with readers, and how you do that, how you do it well, how it's not a big time suck to you, how set processes up. But it made me realize long before generative AI, you know, good indies had worked out that relationship, your brand as an author, was probably the key to you rising above the crowd. Yeah, which is what this course teaches, and that is, you know, that's AI proof. You can't create. We're miles away, I think, from a believable human who's actually AI.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, do you remember when we did our little writing thing in our little talk in Cambridge with the Cambridge Writers Group? This sort of came up, and I talked about the fact that I don't, you know, I've been to these romance conventions where readers are queuing up to meet their favourite author.
Yes.
And somebody said, but couldn't you just write the books with AI and then hire an actor to go to these? And I was
How would that work?
Why would you do that? You'd have to hire the same actor for all your socials, for and I think it's sort of bypassing the fact that we write books because we love to write books. And it's also not an easy way to make money. Like if somebody was going to go to that much effort that they would hire an actor to be their social media presence and try to trick everyone that they're human, go do something else. Like this, because this is like writing books, even if you get AI to write it for you, it's really not an easy way to make money. You've got to love it. You've got to stick at it. You've got to be willing to pivot. You've got to do the learning. Like it's really not, oh, great, now I can use AI. I'm going to go and be a successful author. It's not that simple. We always say writing the book is just the first part, and then everything else is the learning that you do afterwards.
Which is all good news for us if you want to work at it. It is good news
for us.
Yeah.
So shall we launch into audiobooks?
Yes. I'm going to predict that we're not going to get this done in this episode. Bearing in mind, I have an 11 o'clock train. I've got meetings in London today. So should we say this is part one? We'll do part one and part two. So we're just sort of halfway. Because also there's quite a lot to this subject, so we don't overwhelm in one episode.
Yep, sure.
But yeah, let's talk about audio books. I'm going to let you are basically going to take the lead.
Am I leading this because it was my idea? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I suppose first of all, we should think about why it matters, because a lot of people, if you're not an audiobook listener, I think it might be something that you kind of discount in the process of, you know, like we said, you focus on writing a book, you focus on all the marketing and stuff, pushing that ebook out there. You do your print on demand with Amazon. You might have thought about selling direct, but audiobooks often still get overlooked. And yet they are, and have been for a while, the fastest growing way of people consuming books. And there used to be a lot of debate, and people used to say things like, well, listening to audio doesn't count as reading. And I think that has now completely been, you know, put in the bin. Like people now, a lot of my friends, it's the only way they consume books now, because especially if you're a busy working parent, you can listen to them while you're doing the laundry, you can listen to them on your commute, you can, you know, all sorts of things. So I think it's really important that we actually acknowledge how big an opportunity it is. It's also, you know, I have a lot of readers who are neurodiverse. They might only be able to consume in audio. And you can do things like sync your ebook with Alexa now and have Alexa read it to you. But it is literally just a little robot voice reading it to you.
I mean, if you think about it from sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. You go.
I was going to say, you think about it from an author point of view. If you've written a book and someone's consumed it on audio, does it bother you? They've read your book. They've read your book. It doesn't matter how they read it. And so that nonsense about it's not really reading, which is, as you say, really gone away.
Yeah, exactly. And it's another revenue stream, and it's another way to get eyes on your books. You know, I've noticed Amazon often push audiobooks. It's like the top format when you land on the page.
It's kind of annoying, actually. You land on the product page and it's the audiobook, and actually you'd rather it be the Kindle of your own book. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's something that we all need to think about, and also not discount it as like, yes, it can be expensive to get into, but there are cheaper ways to do it. So if you haven't done audio before or investigated audio before, I suppose there are two key places to go, aren't there? There's ACX, which is basically Audible. That's the Amazon, back end of producing and uploading your audiobooks. And there's Findaway Voices. Are they still called Findaway?
Well, that's interesting. So I went into my Findaway account today, actually, and a notice, I hadn't been, I'm probably behind the curve on this, other people will know this, a notice came up saying, we've moved, we're now in Audible, or in audio. And so you get redirected to in audio, where you've got to set up your account again. So I had to put all my information in, and then you've got to set up your payment information again, which doesn't work. So you can't set up your payment information. So it's not a wholly satisfactory experience. And there's a note there on the page that doesn't work saying, we're aware there are some issues with this page.
Okay. You can't do anything else with Findaway now owned by Spotify. Is that
right? Findaway were bought by Spotify, as far as I understand how that deal worked. And because they wanted an audio book distribution arm. And now that wing of it, which is a bit like ACX to Audible, is now in audio. I don't really understand the machinations.
Yeah, I thought something else had happened, but I hadn't quite caught up with it. But basically, it's similar. The setup with your audiobooks is similar to the fact that you can go to KDP to do your ebooks, or you can go to somewhere like Draft to Digital, which will also publish it to Amazon for you if you want it to, but is more set up for publishing wide, accessing, Kobo, Apple, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a similar thing. It's just with ACX, which is basically Audible, and Findaway, which is now in audio, which is more for pushing it wide with your audiobooks.
And not a bad option, I think, is to do those two big platforms manually. So you get maximum royalties from it, and then use an aggregator to do everything else, because actually there's about 50 more. I mean, there are a lot. Yeah. Although last time I looked, some of them take like 9 months to process your book and get it online, so almost not worth it. But there's libraries, there's all sorts of different options. Yeah,
and it's a similar thing in that with ACX, you can choose to be exclusive to Audible, which will get you higher rates, or you can choose to be, and then obviously your audiobook can only be on Audible, or you can go wide and then your audiobook will be on, Spotify, Apple, everywhere else. And that's kind of, but also there is the option that you do it yourself, where you can sell your audiobooks direct on your own website. A lot of authors do that because you can bundle it and you can really control the pricing a bit more. But I would say if you're starting out, it's probably best to tackle that key decision of whether you're going to go exclusive or wide. And I've heard multiple different things from different people.
Yeah.
I am exclusive because that was what I found I had the best results with. But I have heard recently that Spotify is now really growing its audio platform.
Yeah. I'm wide. And I went wide when Spotify announced that it was going to go hard into audiobooks. And it was definitely the right decision for me. So I think you go down to, I can't remember what the percentages are, should know. I think it's 40% when you're exclusive, is it, on ACX?
I think the percentages and stuff are really complicated because it also depends on the borrows, and ACX have got quite a strange way of calculating it.
Yeah.
So honestly, opaque, if you want to calculate the numbers, I would honestly ask ChatGPT. And I had a friend who did this when they were trying to decide who to go with for their next audiobook deal, and they actually said to ChatGPT, can you break down the numbers and actually tell me like where I would make, because it is complicated if you're not a numbers person. But also if you're wide, if you're not exclusive, you can also upload to YouTube, which a lot of people have had success with, unless you're spicy. If you're spicy, you can't do that.
Right. Really?
So yeah, they don't want the spicy erotic content on YouTube. So
that's smart. Okay. Yeah. Well, you can also, as you said, you mentioned there that you can direct sound. That is actually not something to gloss over. It's a serious proposition now, because audiobooks, if you buy an audio, if you're not subscribed to Audible or Spotify, whatever, to get a certain amount per month, which is the only really way to do it, you end up paying £25 odd for an audiobook. And you can sell your audiobook. You can upload it somewhere like BookFunnel, who will issue a link and a player for the reader and for the listener, and you can sell it for $4.99. You can really undercut those big prices, and that is a genuine option. You can start running ads. You can create a page just with the audiobooks on it, start running ads to that. In fact, there's a few people setting up these pages where multiple audiobooks are on there, and they're all direct. So
I think you will make more from that too.
Yes.
So you might say, but $4.99 and they're selling it for $25 on Amazon. You'll be making more from the $4.99 sale than you would from that $25, because that's not what they, with all the weird pricing that we were just talking about, they then discount it. And if somebody does it as a borrow, it's a different amount and all of that kind of stuff. So
I think I make £2.77 at the moment, which is like $3.40 per title on Audible. I think that is. Spotify.
I'm about the same for mine. About the same, maybe slightly less, because my books are shorter than yours, and it's done on listen time, isn't it? And there's also things to consider. If you sell direct, you can bundle them all up and all of that kind of stuff. So if you're going to go wide, definitely you need to be thinking about having them direct as well. If you're confused by all this, you can just start out with being exclusive to Audible or ACX. They do say that you can only change your mind once.
Oh, really?
Somewhere in the terms and conditions, there's something that says you can only change once. In my experience, this has not been the case. Every time I've wanted to change, I've just emailed them and said, I want to change. And then they say, you've already done this once. And then I say, I still want to change. And then they've allowed it to happen. So,
That's interesting. It is a slightly clunky system in that is not a button you press. It's not like Kindle Unlimited Select, where you just untick a button and come out in the next period. You have to email somebody and then they process that for you. And it takes a little while. But that's interesting. I mean,
I was just going to say, I have a tip, which is quite a random tip, but if you're not sure, if you're right at the beginning of this process and you're not sure if you're going to do audiobooks, still go onto ACX and claim your book on your profile. So set up a profile for you on ACX and claim it, and all that means is you've said, this book is mine and I might make an audiobook of it in the future. Because I have had authors who've genuinely had people make audiobooks of their own books, because anybody could set up an ACX account and I could search through and select James Blatch's book, if you haven't already done it, and then make an audiobook of it myself. And I know a couple of authors where this has actually happened to them. So although I haven't produced all of mine in my series yet, I've gone on there and actually claimed them and selected them, and they're in my little ACX library as ones that I'm going to be doing eventually. So even right at the beginning, if you're not sure, just do that as like a safeguard. And you might be like, well, who would want to do that? If you get big enough, somebody, it takes one TikTok to blow you up, and then somebody catches wind of the fact that your book is really high in the charts, and it could happen. So it's an easy thing to do. Just go claim it.
Yeah. Now, I should say that the Audible interface, which was, I mentioned opaque, I used the word just now. I mean, it was more opaque than it used to be. It's actually got a lot better. And I can remember actually Lee Jarrett came over to our show last year and sort of announced that they were going to refurb the interface, and it is a lot better. I went in this morning, I could see my daily sales, which is great. Didn't used to be able to see that. In fact, funny enough, Spotify is now the one that's a bit opaque, and it's quite hard get your sales figures from that. They seem to come through in batches. You get suddenly in my case, I get like 150 quid. I think, well, that was a hell of a month, but it wasn't 1 month. It was over a 3-month period. And so just one type of your sale got batched up. But anyway, that's, Yeah, I do think the Audible one is moving forward in terms of its accessibility
Yes, it
to
is,
indie
definitely.
authors. Yeah,
Yeah, because in my head it still looks like the old ACX, and every time I go on there, I'm like,
yeah,
oh
it's
no,
not.
they updated it, and you can actually see your sales like graphs now and download. Very much more similar to KDP in the way that you can download your reports and stuff. Okay, so your decision is exclusive to ACX or wide. Once you've made that decision, you've then got to actually tackle making the audiobook, which is overwhelming. I think when you're first starting, you sort of go, where do I even start? And I think, like I said, there's the preconception that it's going to be very pricey. It really doesn't have to be. So at the most basic level, you could go onto ACX, find a narrator who's pretty new, in which case their rate is going to be cheaper. And the way that they phrase their rate is per finished hour. So you'll see PFH. And that means they're narrating it and they're also doing the production. So that's kind of what you want. You don't want to see anything other than that, because that means you're going to be paying for the narration and then you're going to be paying for their production time as well. And the per finished hour rate can go anything from like $150 if they're just starting out to 500 plus if you're hiring somebody who's super famous in the narrator space. And actually, it was at our retreat where I was talking to Kelly, and she writes alien romance books, and super lovely. And I was saying that I had a problem because I'll go into it in another episode, I think, actually, my experience, but basically it was going to be too expensive for me to do the rest of the books in my series, because I went all in and I did multiple narrators and all of this kind of stuff. And she said she just goes onto ACX and finds somebody who's just starting out, so their rate is cheaper, but they're still really good. And at that point, they're looking for exposure. They want to work with an author who's got a good book that they want to narrate. And so it is possible to find someone who'll narrate your book for $150-ish. And in terms of the per finished hours, most audiobooks you're looking at 5-6 hours, maybe 7, unless you're doing sci-fi and they're hugely long.
So when you say $150, that's per finished hour?
Yes. Yeah.
So it could be $1,500. That's
yes,
the kind of...
that was about what it was coming out with when I was looking at those narrators. But you've then got the choice where you can either pay them up front. So you pay that $1,500, or you can do a royalty share. So you can do a royalty split where actually you don't pay them that, and you've agreed that you're going to split whatever percentage it is royalties once the audiobook is published. Not a lot of narrators do that now because it's a big risk for them. Or you can do, some of them do offer a hybrid kind of model where they'll say, okay, well, you pay me, $500 up front and then a royalty split later on. So those are your 3 options when you're first starting.
And when you do the buyout, you pay them up front, 100% of it. Is that recording then yours? Could you then go wide?
Yes, yeah, it's yours. I've never done this through ACX, so because I did mine outside of ACX, so I don't know how they deliver the files to you.
Okay.
But in theory, it's yours because you can be wide on ACX as well. They will push to other platforms.
Well, I also did the same as you. So I wanted to own the whole thing, and I'm a little bit nitty and controlly. So I found narrators out in the wide world. I think it was called Chocolate Fox Audio, the company. Matt Addis was the narrator for my first book. And it was a good experience. So I found them, I don't know how, online somewhere, or they were recommended by somebody, maybe recommended, and reached out, very friendly, said, yep, love the look of the book, think this will work well with us. They do all the production. So they give you a quote again, so per finished hour. So you basically know it's going to cost you. In this case, it was probably about £3,000, something like that. I think I paid. It was a long book. When they got close to production, I remember I was in Vegas actually, and he said, I need to talk to you before we start production. So we had like a 45-minute call, which was really good. He asked all the right questions. He wanted to know about motivation. He wanted to know about background, stuff that's not in the book, so that he knows in his head who the characters are right from the beginning. So he's not, as a narrator, waiting for the reveal at the end as to who they are. He kind of has to think about where they're coming from, which I loved. And then they did a great job. They deliver spotless audio files to you already in their chapter numbers. They take out the sample that you're allowed to put at the beginning, and all the rest of it. And so, and then that's mine to do whatever I want with. So I did actually go exclusive for the first couple of years with ACX, and then I took it out, and I'm now wide. So and then I did that again. I needed an American narrator, so I got an American narrator. I think I got him from voices.com. Voices.com, you can just audition voices until you hear the right one. And he did Dark Flight, which is the original version, needs to be redone now. And again, did it the same way. So I've not done the ACX way. It sounds like it's probably a more convenient, it's an easier way of doing it than the way I did it. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to do that for my next ones, but I did the same as you because I did, I did Duet. Did I do Duet? No, I did Dual. They're two different things. Duet is when you have two narrators, and Dual is when you have multiple. So because I write reverse harem, it's quite a big thing for readers. They like having a different voice for every guy. So I went with Pink Flamingo was the company that I used, and I've got a friend who narrates for them. They're a well-known production company, because I just couldn't get my head around how on earth I would do that, how I would find all the different narrators, how I would organize that. And I've since learned that actually you can kind of find one main narrator who will handle all the production, and then they will, work with the other narrators that you hire. So they will they're able to do that. Like they're pretty smart, these people. You don't necessarily need the production company, but because I was just starting out, I was confused. And it worked, same as you, it worked really, really well. I got to audition the different voices. They asked me for some audition scenes. So I chose a spicy scene and just a regular scene where I tried to get as many of the different characters in it as possible. And then I got to go through the different voices and pick which ones I liked. They did everything. And I think when they deliver you the files, they have to be in quite a specific format, don't they? They have to be in a specific format. You have to have your opening credits and your copyright and all of that kind of stuff recorded as well. So they did all of that. It was fantastic. But it cost me about $5,000 per book. So I did the first 3, and then I think I got stuck in this unfortunate cycle where readers didn't want to start listening because they were waiting for the whole series to be released. Right. So then I was going a bit like, how romance readers are with ebooks. So then I'm going, these books haven't earned out yet. I've spent a heck of a lot to produce them. And now I've got a 9-book series. So to produce the other 6 is going to be a huge investment if I'm not quite sure that it's going to make it. So what I'm considering doing is actually re-recording the whole series with just one narrator. And then keeping those dual narrator ones as like a special edition one.
And do a Kelly, find a starter on
exactly, on ACX, and then when those have out and earned enough money, I can then go back and pay for the super fancy version, and then you can have the 2 different versions available. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. But definitely, if you're doing dual or duet narration, don't feel scared of that, because the narrators are actually really lovely as well. If you reach out to them in person, I think we feel a little bit scared because we don't necessarily understand it, and we feel like we might be asking stupid questions. They're all so lovely. They're all so willing to actually explain to you and go, actually, this is how I would do this. And obviously make sure you're talking to somebody who knows what they're talking about. But you can also find narrators really easily now via social media, like especially in spicy romance. A lot of them have really big TikTok profiles. They are, they know, the savvy ones know how to market because they're reading the spicy extracts and stuff. And then you end up with narrators who have their own following, which actually is another thing to mention, because if you're using a narrator who is popular in that space, then they're going to bring their own audience, because some people listen to audiobooks because of the narrator, especially with some of the guy narrators doing the spicy audio. There's a lot of BookTok fans who literally will follow that narrator. So they don't really care what the book is. They'll just listen to anything that's done by that person. So definitely, if you're in the romance space, have a look on socials, have a look at, the top selling audiobooks in your genre and see who those narrators are. And obviously then you're going to be looking at the higher end of things. So that's something to do if you've got a budget. But if you really want to kind of go all out and go down the road of somebody bringing their own audience, then that is something that you can do.
And do you listen to your audiobooks? Do you proof them yourself?
I can't. I absolutely cannot.
I can't either.
Do it.
That's why I asked it. I can't. I hate listening to my audiobooks.
the cringe of hearing the things that I've written, especially with the spicy stuff. I'm like, oh my God, did I write that? And I don't know why it's different from reading it. I don't. I got my readers to do it for me. When I needed to proofread, I actually sent an email out to my newsletter and said, guys, I can't listen to these. Do I have any volunteers who'd like to listen to the audio for me and make sure that it's okay? And that is actually, don't discount doing that either, even if you use a production company, because they did find a couple of errors. They found, I think, 2 chapters where the narrator hadn't said, or it had been cut out of the production, where they hadn't said the chapter name. Right. So chapter 10, which you have to have on Audible or wherever you upload it, you have to have the narrator saying chapter 1, because it's how it, separates it when it's being played back. And then there was something else. Oh, that was it. This was something, though, which I should have listened to it myself, because I would have picked this up. Because they're Americans, they called me Claire. Oh, Claire. And obviously, I pronounce my name Cara.
Yes.
But, I don't really care. But somebody pointed it out to me and was like, do you realise that's how they pronounce your name on the audiobooks? And I was like, no, I didn't, because I've never listened to them.
Now, isn't that funny that we're both the same like that? I hate it.
I know. I'd be interested to see if there was authors who like listening to it.
I know authors who do. I've got friends who do. They'd sort of listen to them in the car for a couple of days and proofing them. But I think what I did, I didn't even get, I don't know, I did actually, because you get some codes with ACX, you get some giveaway codes. I did probably use them, but I think I just put them out there assuming that they're going to be okay, because they're big professional companies and I pay quite a lot of money for them, and that the early reviews would point out if there was any major issues. So I did it that way. Okay, look, we're half an hour in. We haven't mentioned AI yet.
Should we stop here and do AI and marketing in the next one?
I think so,
that feels like a good place to stop.
There's a bit to say on that. And just as a slight spoiler alert, I don't think it's quite as straightforward as translation AI, which I think we are quite pro about, but it's not going to be the same story. But we will save that for next week and do part 2 on audio, and then we'll talk about, as you say, marketing and distribution side of things, and best ways of marketing, which I'm all ears for, actually, because I think I've undermarketed my my audiobooks, and they're quite long books, which do generally go quite well on audio. So I need to be doing more with them. I'll do some
research before next week, because marketing my audiobooks specifically, again, it's not something I've ever really done either. I push the ebook version and assume that people are going to go find the audiobook version. So I'll do some research and speak to some friends who are doing well with their audio. But so the takeaway for this one is for people who are just trying to decide what to do. First thing you've got to do is decide whether you're going to be exclusive to ACX or wide, and then start thinking about what your budget is going to be and what kind of narrator you want to work with. And then next time we'll go into your distribution options a little bit more, and different marketing things like promo deals and stuff like that. And AI.
Always AI. Okay, great. Excuse me. Thank you very much indeed.
Bless you.
Cara Claire. Cara Claire. No, thank you, Cara. Yeah, we'll be back next week with that. Meantime, have a lovely week, everybody, and a lovely weekend.
Yeah, run for your train, run.
Yeah.
Support the podcast and get exclusive access by joining our Patreon. From just $1 an episode, you'll be invited to our Discord server, where the weekly discussion continues every day. And our 2 top tiers include a monthly live Q&A with James and Cara. Head to indiewritersclub.com/support. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you next Friday.
The Indie Writers Club podcast is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Built by writers for writers, Pro Writing Aid doesn't just check spelling and grammar. It helps you enhance your story's pacing, plot, characters, settings, and more. Now it can even provide on-demand developmental feedback on your entire manuscript with its manuscript analysis and virtual beta reader tools. Give your writing a competitive advantage by heading to prowritingaid.com. You can also sign up for free or use the code IWC15 for a 15% discount off annual subscriptions.